let's go to the next team here. Let's go to the Portland TrailBlazers, a team that was in the lottery last year, finished 12th in the West, 36-46 on the season. But they did have a very solid second half of the year. They finished the year 23-18, including a 13-5 stretch during the middle of the season. And that propelled them to make some aggressive moves during this summer, trading Anthony Simons to the Celtics for Drew Holiday. Of course, Damian Lillard is back in Portland. He's going to miss the whole season, but gets bought out by Milwaukee, goes back to the Blazers, 3 years, $42 million. They bought out DeAndre Ayton for him to go to the Lakers to shore up their center rotation. And then they drafted Yang Hansen at 16. So a whole mix of moves for the Blazers. This is their team. Joey, let's start with you. What's something that you want to talk about with this Trailblazer team?
Well, I know we've all been Miles, you've been a very big fan of the Portland Trailblazers over the last couple of years, and I tend to agree with you. I was very impressed by that Hanson Yang dude in Summer League, and I'm very intrigued, and I would love for him to be like the backup center to Klingon this year, not Williams. And I don't know if they can somehow the West is too loaded. I don't know if they can get it. They're still too young. I feel like they're just not there yet. And it could happen, Denny Advia could burst into superstardom. We never know. You never know. But because he obviously played great for Portland last year, and I expect him to get even better this year. But I don't know. Maybe contend for a play-in spot this year. Maybe not make it, but I feel like if you're within that 9 to 12 range for them, especially in that loaded West, I would count that as a pretty successful season.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, you said I have liked the Blazers and what they've been doing the last few seasons. I am a little curious about the Drew Holiday move because I don't know, you don't really make that type of aggressive finishing piece to the puzzle move when you're still haven't proved you can make a play-in spot yet. So that was a little interesting, a move that didn't really make a lot of sense for the Blazers. But I do like their team. It does add to their defense, which is very good. If there's anything that the Blazers should be this year, it should be a talented defensive team that has a lot of athletic guards and talented players in the front court too. I mean, you mentioned Denny Avdia had a great year. Tamani Kamara, all defensive player. Klingon is a beast in the paint. And then, of course, in the backcourt, we still have to see who ends up starting. I mean, I'd expect Drew Holiday to start, but they still have Scoot Henderson entering year 3 now, and he should have a big jump up this season. And, of course, Shaedon Sharpe is good. They still have Jeremy Grant on their roster. You know, we'll see if he is still on the team. Nick, what do you think about the Portland Trailblazers? I mean, this is a team that does look to have some potential, but is the Western Conference too loaded for them to really fit in?
Yeah, I think they're still at least a year away in terms of playoff picture conversation stuff. I agree the Drew Holiday thing was kind of a question mark. I think that'll probably be a move that they parlay later in the year before the trade deadline and maybe get some other guys back who are younger and maybe some draft picks for Drew Holiday to get on a competing team. Yeah, I think they're a year away, though. This year, to me, is about Scoot and Shaedon. I think they're both due for a big year. It's kind of like, you know, you get so many young, talented guards in the league who can do this kind of stuff. But we talked about it last episode, like just having the opportunity gets you the recognition. And it feels like Portland is trying their best to line up their winning opportunity with their peak development with Scoot and Shaedon. So, like, they're going to get better this year, hopefully, and those guys should improve as well. And I think, like, the timing is lining up to be good. So I think Shaedon and Scoot are in for a big year.
Ben, what are some things that you're going to be watching with Portland this season?
I'm going to be watching Scoot Henderson. Can he take a big year for a leap? I think he potentially could. I'm intrigued by Scoot Henderson. I mean, I think he could play a big factor in how the Blazers season potentially goes. Because, I mean, I think he, the Scoot, jumps up and starts scoring pretty well, like I believe he hopefully could do starting this year. Then, I mean, I think the Blazers will be a tough team for other teams to play, like, because then that would give them, like a few pretty good scores. And I think, they're going to be pretty good defensively. I think some teams offensively, are gonna get in trouble against the Blazers sometimes. They have some guys that that have some great versatility on defense, like Tamani Kamara we mentioned, and also Matisse Thybulle off the bench. That'll be a pretty good defender off the bench too. And
yeah, listen, I would not be surprised if the Blazers were the Houston Rockets from last season. Maybe not number 2 seed, because that would be crazy. But a team that finished off the previous regular season on a strong note, put themselves in position to play in meaningful, competitive games because of how great defensively they are, loaded with athletic defensive players. And then they go into the next season with some veterans to lead the way, and they jump up in the standings and become competitive. Because when you look at this roster, I mean, how do you score against this team? I don't know how teams are going to be able to really score consistently against this team. I'm just a little worried on how the Blazers are going to score at the other end, because if there's anything that they're lacking, it is that number 1 guy offensively. We don't know who it is. We could make 5 different cases for who the best player on the Portland TrailBlazers is right now. We don't know who it is right now. It could be Denny Avdia right now because of how he finished the season. Shaedon Sharpe averaged 18.5 points per game last season. Drew Holiday has the pedigree. And I think he's someone that is going to have to obviously play pretty well. I mean, he's a guy that his numbers have gone down the last couple seasons, but he was also the 4th or 5th option in Boston with that incredibly loaded team. And we were not that far removed from him being an all-star 19 points per game player for a competitive Milwaukee Bucks team. So I think that there is a world where this Blazers team can be good and competitive and make a run for a postseason spot. Because, I mean, defense will win you games, and this team definitely has that.
Chauncey Billups at the helm should be a good recipe for success. I will happily be the lowest man on the Blazers on our pod panel, though. There's a lot of question marks about them that you just laid out, Miles. I don't think the Rockets had that many questions going into last year. Who their number 1 scorer was, like Jalen Green. They had LP as their second option. We don't even know who the first and second options on this team are.
Right. Definitely fair. And that's why I don't think this team can jump up to a 2 seed. But I mean, lower end, you always see a young team in the bottom of the standings competing for a playing spot. I think Portland could be that team. Their over-under win total, 33.5 wins for the Portland TrailBlazers. What do you guys think about this?
Good luck. They won 36 last year, finished 36 and 46 after you said 23 and 18 in the second half of the year. So I would have them right around 33 and 34. I would take the over slightly because I do think that they need to give Scoot a bit more runway, and I do think like in the second half of the year they'll move on from Drew Holiday and start Scoot next to Shaedon, and I think like they'll get some wins towards the end of the year again.
I will also go the over, but probably closer to that 38 to 40 range. I think they're going to be much closer to like the play-in and like 500 because, like Miles pointed out, their defense. It's almost like how I viewed the Orlando Magic last year when Paolo and all of them were dealing with injuries, where they have good scorers, but they don't have consistent and great scores like those 25-plus scores that you're going to get. But their defense is going to be top-notch, where they're going to get a lot of wins against those really bad teams just because those teams can't score on them.
Yeah, and then they'll catch some good teams on bad nights where they just can't hit, and they'll get some wins there too. Ben, for 33.5 wins, you're pretty high on the Blazers, it sounds like, so I'm guessing the over for you as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving the over.
Hammering the over!
Yeah, I would hammer it. I think the Blazers are going to be a team competing for a playoff spot and just looking to compete the best they can coming up this year. And I believe, young guys are hopefully going to get better.
Yeah, I agree. Over as well. I think they'll be close to a 40-win team because of their defense. This season, they just need to figure out who their number 1 guy is going to be for their future going forward. Hopefully that's Scoot Henderson. I'm very curious to see what ends up happening in, I guess, the season after when Dame comes back. Like, how are they going to play that out? Because they've got a lot of guards, so I don't know how they're going to play that out. But as far as this season goes, I think that they should be competitive with that defensive team.